Okay, we're not, that's not working. All right, we're live, Bill. Go ahead.
Hey, good evening, everybody. This is Big Bill coming to you live from YouTube Model Builders. We're coming to you tonight, Thursday, in place of Johnny's Train Talk show. John was so gracious to let us take this time slot from him due to conflict and work schedules for Joe Desmond. We had to move it over till Thursday night, so I hope you enjoy it. Today is the first day of summer, Joe. Did you know that?
Yes, and it was hot for me.
First day of summer. Also, you guys may notice that yours truly has got a new production set up here. New set. We're broadcasting live from the South Brooklyn Railroad, and in the train room itself. And this was John's idea because we had a meeting, and John said, "You think we could do this in the future because the sound is a lot better and the lighting is so much more, crisper and clear, so you can see that I'm really fat." You think this shirt makes me look fat, Joe?
No. Black is slimming.
Black? Okay, thank you. Oh, here's another tip for you guys. This is man tip number 63. I shave with an old-fashioned double edge like my father used to use, and I didn't have any of the razor blades. So I had to improvise because I really had to shave, and I used what I chopped the plastic with. Put it out. It was a little rusty, but I put some alcohol on it, and I got it. It didn't cut. It cut my ear. I don't know if you can see it. I hope I don't get some kind of disease or something. Well, it's just plastic, right? It's clean plastic.
Yeah, well, hopefully you don't get tetanus or something.
Something like that. Well, if we shoot the next one at the Staten Island University Hospital, God forbid. God forbid. Anyway, we're here in the South Brooklyn Railroad layout room. We got a new computer. I got a new laptop. I broke down the old tower, and we're going with this minimalist thing. I got this computer from my friend Frankie Riceballs. Hold on. Yeah, Frankie Riceballs. He gets me everything. He got me a Rolex watch one.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, it was a nice one, too. He said it was a limited edition because it was ROLEXX, it said. I only paid him $125 for it.
Did it fall off a truck?
Joe, see no evil, hear no evil, speak. But this thing here, this computer, I'm trying to get this thing. It says property of, but he scratched it out. He said it was a refurbished one, but we'll see how it works. Anyway, welcome into the Locomotive Shop, everybody. Today is June 21st, and 9:04 p.m., and we're with Joe Desmond again. And John is our director, standing by to correct any mishaps or confusions or any time we screw up here. And Joe and I am going to go over the last couple of shows. We're going to do a recap tonight on the last 9 shows that Joe has done into the Locomotive Shop, and talk about future shows that we're going to do. Also, to give you an update, next Tuesday, the 26th of June, we're going to have a special guest, Larry Rhine and Chris Rude. Chris Rude, most of you guys know, who've been on the YouTube Model Builders Appear Hangouts. He's a O-Scale guy. And Larry Rhine, I had the pleasure of meeting up in Amherst, up in the train show in Springfield, Massachusetts this past January. He was doing one of the clinics on Third Rail. And he had a nice setup going, and I thought it would be interesting to have him come aboard. And so the next Who is Big Bill talking to, we'll be talking to Larry Rhine and to Chris Rude in regards to their O-Scale and Third Rail. And Larry's got some pretty interesting exhibits and pretty interesting ideas and stuff like that, as well as Chris Rude brings a lot to the table as well. So that's going to be next Tuesday, this 26th of June. And on next Thursday, all you Johnny Reb fanboys out there, he'll be back doing his, Johnny's Train Talk show. So you can all jump in and, show them your new ideas of what to and how for things that are going on, and talk the topic of trains and the hobby and what's going on in the hobby, stuff like that. And Joe, how have you been?
June has been busy. I can't, just nonstop, one thing after the other. So thank you to Johnny's fans for allowing me to steal his time slot. You know, I know you probably were looking forward to seeing Johnny again tonight, but
get out of here.
Yeah. Yeah.
She must have been so. What did you guys do afterwards?
Oh, before we went out to dinner, but you know, afterwards we went to the graduation, but it was like this big like play and they're singing and it was cute and my daughter loved it. But afterwards we were just so tired we came home.
Yeah, well, that happens, man.
So
how old is
Caitlin? Caitlin is she's gonna be 5 August 8th.
Ooh.
So it's
when?
August 8th.
Oh, my Gracie, my Grace is gonna be 7 December, and my other one, Amber. These are my adopted granddaughters, Amber and Grace and Alexis. And Alexis's birthday is June 30th, so they'll be 10.
Oh, I'm getting comments that we don't have video.
What are you getting?
Hang on.
I think you'd rather hear us talk than look at us.
Yeah.
Yeah, what you need to do is, okay, it didn't switch over. That's what it is. I lost the panel. All right, now they'll be able to see everybody.
There you go, everyone.
Yeah, that's my faux pas for tonight, I hope. I'll let Bill and Joe do the rest of them.
Here we are. Now we're back.
There we are.
So we'll start all over again.
Yep.
Well, just to recap, we're here. We're into the locomotive shop with Joe Desmond. And well, tell the truth. Am I not the best looking host in the world? If I see disparaging remarks on this Q&A right here, I'm coming to your house. Your house.
So, what I was getting at is that, you know, I've been with the YouTube model builders now since September. We did like 10 shows. I want to take a little vacation to spend some time with the family for July and August. You know, behind the scenes, you know, there was a lot of prep for these shows. You know, working and trying to get into the booth and do all that work on the locomotives. It was a little stressful. So I just want to take a little break. But before I go and take my break, I want to go back with everybody and just recap all the projects that we did together and open it up for questions. You know, if there's any questions out there from the stuff we went over.
Joe, just one question. Did you get permission from Johnny to take off June and July?
I put in the vacation chit, but I don't know if he approved it yet. So
yeah, I know. Okay, because anytime I put in for time off, and he's got this rule about 30 days in advance. How do you do 30 days in advance? I don't know what I'm doing in the next 5 minutes.
I'd file a grievance on that one.
You think?
I don't think that. I think our contract allows you to within 7 days.
I don't think we have. No, I don't think we do. I got to talk to somebody. Who's in charge here?
I thought you were.
Yeah.
I thought you were the shop steward.
Yeah, I am. Okay. Let me put that down. Let me just write that down. Okay, we got that set. All right. So you've been with us for 10 months now, Joe? September?
Yep, September was the first show.
Oh man.
Mm-hmm.
So we gotta have a John, if you, I know you're listening. The guys can't hear you in the community, but you can hear us, and we can hear you. But we got to do a birthday cake or something. 10 months, really?
Yeah.
Am I getting the birthday cake this Sunday?
It's John's birthday this Sunday, everybody. How old are you going to be? 28, John?
Yeah, about that.
About that.
Yeah, sounds good to me.
Sounds good to him. Anyway, let's get back to business because it's the first day of summer. We're getting excited. His daughter graduated from pre-K, going into K next year.
Oh,
exciting times.
Don't bring it up.
Exciting times in model railroading. Anyway, Joe, let's go back over the 9 months. 10 shows, 9 shows, 10 months.
All right, let's take you back to September. Okay. I'm gonna pop this up and I'm gonna screen share it. Hopefully, I do this right. Close this message. Did I do it right? No, I did not. Okay, I did not do that right.
Take your time, Joe. Take your time.
Share screen. Oh my gosh, come on.
Let's see. Brian W. says time off will reflect in your paycheck. You got that right, brother. Let's see. Jamestown 34. Why at most people live, my computer is behind my phone, but with the YTMB, my phone is behind my computer for sound and video lags. Okay. No, and Lloyd, MHO Junction, vacation should be only after 1 year of service.
Why is it doing that, John? My icon. Okay, so I have it. Okay. Now I do screen share. Do I do my entire screen or application window? Entire screen share.
There we go.
There we go.
Just before you start, just let me finish up this housekeeping here.
I apologize for that, everyone.
Hillbilly Railroad. My grandson's is going to the 3rd grade. They get big and they grow up fast, don't they? Dwight of Northern Star. Dwight, Bill's wife has her TV. You got that right, bro. When I told my wife that John suggested I come into the train room, she said, "That's brilliant. That's brilliant. I'm baking that man." James 34. Jamestown 34. Does anyone here know Aldrino? I don't know him personally. I know Frankie Rice Bowls and Vinny Bacialu. Aldrino. Who's Aldrino? Otto Belcher. Happy birthday, Johnny. Nathan DeLay. Happy birthday, John. Andy Crawford. Howdy, boys. Lloyd, Bill, are you sitting on the floor? Actually, I'm not sitting on the floor, Lloyd. I'm sitting on a chair below the fascia boards of the layout is right here, the tracks, and I'm sitting below. And I'm sitting in a smaller chair. I can't get the bigger chair in here. Okay. I can't get the big boy chair in here, so I'm in the children's table. So Joe, you cleaned it up, and here we go. What do we do now?
Okay, so back in September, if you remember, we did this little critter here. This was the MP15. That was Andy's, and we did the Digitrax decoder install. And no, I'm sorry, it was the TCS decoder install, and we did our weathering. If you remember, I taught you how I faded my locomotives using sand color from Model Flex, and taught you how to do the grills. We worked with a little bit of weathering powders on this one, and it was a fairly simple install. And the point of this one was I wanted to show everyone how small of a locomotive you can still do basic drop-in installs. So, and that was the first one.
That was the September one. I remember that one. That was a pretty interesting one too, and I love the locomotives. I've had the opportunity to operate on on Joe's layout, and it's really nice, it's sweet, and got to see these trains that we worked on up front and personal. So yeah. It just is nice in person. The picture doesn't do it justice.
So that was September, and then we went to our next show. If you remember, that was the Milwaukee Road Unit.
Yeah.
We started with this brand new out of the box, and that was for a buddy of mine, Matt, down in South Carolina, and that was the final outcome. And if you remember, we did a little detail work on this one. This was the first time we did some details. We put in that beacon on the top. We put in an antenna. We did some real heavy weathering because I want to make this look real grimy. We didn't have to worry about the grill work because of the black color, and we worked with some weathering powders and just pretty much messed it up.
So, messed it up in a good way, not a bad way.
That's right. I'm sorry, I messed it up in a good way.
That's all right. That's all right. That's all right.
And this unit has since departed the layout and has gone back to its owner.
And what was his reaction when he saw it?
Oh, he loves it. He says it runs great. We did, don't forget, the decoder we did was a basic Digitrax drop-in board. So it was just dropping it in and programming it and moving on. And he says it runs great, and he loves the way it looks.
Cool. Looks sweet.
Yeah. So some of the rear end details on that one. I like this one. This one was probably, even though I'm a Conrail fan, I fell in love with this locomotive. It pained me to send it back to him. I really wanted to keep it. So then we had our catastrophe. This was the one that I messed up on in November. And so that's when we took a break and went and did our airbrushing techniques over at the spray booth.
Just to recap, this is when you say this is the one you messed up. This is the one where you went with the old paint. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yeah. And then we fixed it later on in the series. Yeah, this is what it looked like before I started spraying it and ruined it.
Yeah, this is the one where, Joe, I don't know if you guys were taking notes. We should have given a test, multiple choice on this. But this is the one where Joe painted and he used some old paint, right? That you had?
Yeah, I had that old folk wheel dust, and thought I was going to be slick and bring it back to life, and it just destroyed the whole paint job.
Right. Yeah. Turned it white, right?
Like yeah, it looked like it came out of a snowstorm. It was horrible.
Right.
Not a good day. And then so we went over, and so in November, I showed you my spray booth setup, and how to do some airbrushing. I can't find that picture right now. I should have pulled it up before. So that's when we went over some of the airbrushing techniques that I used and showed everybody how to set up the brush and clean it. So, and then we came back in December and we did this locomotive. We started with this was the first one we did sound. This was the Digitrax sound decoder that we installed, and we did some detail work and all that. And this was the final outcome. It was a Digitrax board with a Digitrax speaker. We put an antenna on this one. We did some real good weathering to it. We also put a cab signal box on it on the other side, right there on the forward end. We worked with the trucks in the tank. We also put the low profile wheel sets in from Kato, to give us tune it up and make it run a little better. So there's some close-up shots that I took. This one came out really good. Even though the decoder is not my favorite and it doesn't run all that well, it came out, it looks really good.
And just so if you who are new to the channel and watching this maybe for the first time, all of Joe's equipment is N scale.
Yeah, all N scale. Oh, and I'm looking at this picture. I just reminded myself that we also put some paint in there on them class lights to give it some color. That was the rear end detail. There was the top end. There was the antenna that we installed along with the battery box. So some minor detail work and a good weathering job, and it turned it into a fairly good looking locomotive, I think.
I think it looks excellent.
Thank you.
Excellent.
Any questions so far?
No, it seems that the topic of discussion is James Town 34 is looking about some. Let me see if I can get it. I want to run a trolley, and I would like to know if an Arduino can take the power supply and reverse polarity so we can go back and forth. Apparently, our resident tech guy, Andy Crawford, hello, Andrew, has steered him in the right direction, as well as some other, Dwight and some other guys. But no. Brian X says it looks great.
Thank you, Brian.
Brian.
Okay. So then after that, we went to this locomotive. This locomotive had been pre-weathered before. Not really what I was looking for, but I wanted to fix it up because it was a good running unit. And this was the first one that we did the ESU Loke sound with the Sugar Cube speaker.
Right, so, I remember this. This was
this was a bear too, because this is that one where I shorted out the speaker and blew the board.
Right.
But I was able to recover in time. So, and now we're into the last one was December. I think this is January, I believe we're in now. And there it was after weathering. We again did our detail work. We did an antenna. This one here, I tried to do that con rust effect. Conrail modelers know what that is. It's like this cakey stuff that accumulates with a little bit of iron ore dust from taconite pellets and some brake shoe dust. And it kind of sticks to all the horizontal surfaces on this blue Conrail paint. So that's what I was trying to go for here.
Good job.
Yeah. So.
Very good job.
Yeah. That's a little blurry. Sorry about that one. There's the rear end. Also, if I'm recalling correctly, I think I had to paint them handrail ends because they were still not painted. There is the engineer side. You can see the cab signal box that we put in. Sorry about this picture. It looks like it's sitting a little high in the front end. I think I didn't have it all the way snapped in. I just realized that.
Huh?
So, lift kit. Those were the first two sound decoders that we did. We did the soundtrack, the Digitrax with the oval speaker, and then we did the ESU Loke sound with the Sugar Cube speaker, and then we came to this little job here. This is the little GP40-2, and we put that that same ESU board in this. Now, all the ESU boards, what we found out was they're all the same size. They just fit different frames. Certain frames, like the SD60s that we were working with before, we had to do a little modification, but they just dropped right down into this chassis with no problem. And this one, we went back a step on the speaker, and I went to go with the Digitrax Oval because I kind of like the way it fit in this chassis better. So if you recall, that's what it looked like brand new, and this is what the weathering turned out.
Excellent job on the weathering. Excellent job.
Yeah, I wanted to make this one a little worn, but not too overly done. And the sound on this, if you recall, was phenomenal. It runs beautiful. Love running this at the session. I think we had it running in the yard. It sounds really neat when you use that drive hold, pulling cut of cars. So there's the back end detail. And the locomotive, the engineer side, you can see there's the cab signal box that we put in. We also put an antenna on this one. We did these trucks in just grimy black. If you recall, I didn't do very much on the trucks because I wanted to keep them a little clean looking. There's another shot of it. This one's out of sequence. That's the first one.
I have a question for you.
Go.
Andrew, Joe, what do you think about the sound difference with the Sugar Cube versus the oval driver?
Okay, Andrew. So what my personal opinion is, I don't see the difference in the fidelity of the sound quality in this scale and in scale. It just, the Digitrax Oval, the reason I'm favoring it is because it's all one unit. The case, the baffle, it's all pre-done. It's just got the 2 wires that you solder to the board, and it's got a little adhesive sticker on it that you can kind of stick it to the chassis, and it slides right under the board perfectly. That Sugar Cube speaker that I used from Zemo, I had some issues with, I had to cut down the box to make it fit, and then the speaker vibrates loose and it gets this buzzing sound. So for reliability factor, I'm favoring the Digitrax Oval right now. And the price is really not that bad. I mean, there's not much price difference. The Zemo, I think, is $12, and the Digitrax Oval is at $10. So, yeah, but sound quality-wise, I did not notice the difference.
Hillbilly Railroad wants to know, what is the size of your layout and the power you run on it?
We are 11 by 14. It's a walk-in, like a letter E. And then power-wise, we are running mostly 4-axle units, because if you look at the Conrail roster in 1980, they were using a lot of 4-axle units. They had a plethora of 4-axle units, and the big orders of the 6-axle, you know, the ST60s and the Dash 9s, Dash 8s and stuff hadn't started coming in yet. So I'm kind of trying to emulate that. So mostly you're going to see a lot of 4-axle units. You know, run-through trains will have, you know, 3 or 4 of them. So hope that answers his question.
Yeah. Dustin's N-Scale Railroad says, amazing weathering, and Hastings BNSF N-Scale Modeler, great weathering. I'm jealous. Andrew Crawford says, makes sense, Joe. There's something to be said for easier.
So I think we're up to like, I think we're up to like April now, or May, and we're going to come over here to this now. We're going to, if you remember that picture that I showed you before, actually, let me do this for you. Bear with me. I will try. Sorry if I make you dizzy.
No, you're not.
Yeah. Okay, so remember that.
I remember that, yes.
Yep. So now we're going to go to, this was the final outcome right here. So with this, you know, I had to strip it down. We had to take off all the decals. We had to re-letter and renumber the cab set. There were some, if you look right in here, the previous person didn't put that white in there. Looking at prototype photos, I picked up on that. Some of it, you know, it's not picture perfect, because if you look down here, some of the white wore off and we got some gunk still stuck on it that I couldn't get off, but we kind of went with it. You know, you're looking at it at the macro level, so it's a little harsh, but when you look at it from a distance, it kind of blends all in together. So we were able to salvage the unit. And, you know, the owner, I worked with him each step of the way and coordinated with Andy, and he was very happy with the outcome. So I was able to save that. And we also put the nice decoder in there for him, the ESU Loc sound. So it sounds really good and it runs really well. And we also changed out the wheel sets on this one for him, re-decaled. And that was pretty much all we did here. But, you know, don't forget, we took it all the way down to primer, or to bare plastic, re-primered, repainted all this. So
that's the one where that's the show where you actually, you know, you videotaped it prior and you dipped it in the alcohol and let it soak and then spread it on, right?
Exactly. And that's what it looked like when it started. So
I have a question.
Go for it.
In regards to you modeling your layout and modeling your engines in Conrail, and how important is it for you to have the details for you as a modeler to have the details such as the antennas, the signal box, and stuff? Is that like, if it's there, it makes the layout run better, or is it just something that you want to do personally?
I just wanted to do it personally. I didn't get too heavy in the details. I think we discussed this maybe in the first or second episode. You know, I'm under the impression, or I am under the opinion, when it comes to in scale, that if you want to do a show quality, show stopping locomotive that you're going to put under high power magnification photography, then yeah, you know what? Let's do some grab irons and let's do some grill work and let's go crazy. But you know, think about it when you're on my layout, Bill. When you were running, you were maybe 3-4 feet from your locomotive. So the 3-4 foot rule, I think, these little details that I've shown you to put in, you know, the cab signal box, because that's a Conrail thing. That Sinclair antenna, that's a Conrail thing. The big standout things that everybody sees, oh, Conrail used those. So that's why I went with those few details. You know, in the future, absolutely, I'll do some grab irons and some real cool stuff in scale. Yeah, but I think for now, I think that'll just get us running and get us going.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Now with HO scale, it's a little different. You know,
I'm of the opinion, and this is my opinion. Like, I'm in the process now. I have undecorated boxcar that I'm putting together, and it has the grab irons, the ladders, you know, the wheel for the brake on top, and you know, spinning. So and the stirrups to go up and down. And I'm sitting there and I'm doing it. My wife was asking, how important is it to put all those small parts on? It depends on how detailed I want to be.
Right.
You know, as it comes down to, it's my railroad, my layout, my visual. You know, once they're painted up, is anybody going to notice it? You know, and is anybody going to care? Because I think you're right. When I was over your house and I was, you know, and I was operating, I was paying more attention of operating than I was of the equipment. You know, I was aware the equipment was used because we had to use it,
right,
to do what we want to do, but I wasn't paying attention. Like, oh, there's a guy in the you know what I'm saying? I mean, it adds to the authenticity of, you know, what you're doing, but it's not something you readily look at.
And the other thing I'm looking at is, you know, if we're going to be doing operations, you know, think of people operating your layout. Their hands are getting in there. They're touching things and stuff. I'm not going to want my prize fully detailed locomotives being out there for an op session. They're going to be put away.
Yeah, obviously. You're right. I mean, I know a gentleman who has a large collection of fine diesel engines in HO scale, and he puts them in a display case, and they're beautiful. They're beautiful. But I tell him we were talking one day, and I tell him, once you take it from the display case, it's quality in the display case. People come in and they admire it, but once it goes on the layout, you know, right here on the train, it no longer becomes the center of attraction.
Right.
It goes right into the whole rhyme and reason of the layout. You know?
Correct. Yeah,
you don't look. You know, it's hard. It's hard to grasp everything, and you're starting scenery now.
Correct.
You know? So, you know, again, once the scenery's done, your eye tends to pull towards what is as it goes through that scene. So, not saying, I'm not advocating that, you know, don't dress out your box cars, don't dress out your engines. I'm just, you know, I guess the answer is it's everybody's particular.
I think it's more like this. You have your everyday work clothes, and then you have your Sunday going to meeting clothes. Okay. Every day we're having a work session, we're going to put our everyday work clothes on. They still look nice. They get the job done. But when we're doing a show, or we're having a layout tour where people aren't going to be touching things, put out your best. Right. That's how I look at it. And unfortunately, I'm at that point in my layout where I'm not ready to start working on my best yet. I just want to get my roster built up. Ralph.
Ralph Renzetti. Bill, it depends on if your name is Andy. Bada bing, bada boom. Me, yeah.
You gotta love the camaraderie.
You gotta love it.
So,
fellows.
So those were the locomotives we went through, and at the beginning when we started in September, I told everybody I was going to start out small and I was going to take you up that ramp to get up to them more difficult ones. And yeah, I realized there may be some people out there that said, well, this is in scale. I do HO. Well, I apologize. I'm an in scaler. It is what it is. But the techniques that I showed you can absolutely be used in HO scale. No reason why you can't.
Absolutely. I agree with you. It's transferable. Model railroading at different scale. I personally, being at your house, that was my first time operating on an N-scale railroad. I'm glad I do HO. Mm-hmm. I'm not taking away from it. There's a lot of trackage that can be done, but I'm kind of like, I'm favoring, this.
Yeah.
The hand is like, yeah, man, that's dusty.
Maybe you should get in there and run some trains.
Yeah, I got to get working on this thing. But no, you're right. It transfers to any layout, any scale. I mean, bigger, smaller. I mean, it's the same, Here, let's see. Hillbilly Railroad. Okay, cool. Late. I guess Hillbilly Railroad's leaving. Hillbilly Railroad has a YouTube channel. You guys should go check out his channel. He's building a new layout, just to give him a plug and a shout out, because we are YouTube model builders. And so Hillbilly Railroad does have a YouTube channel, and you guys should check it out. He's building a really nice layout, HO scale. Andy Crawford says, Joe, glad you finally apologizing. Recognizing the problem is the first step. Nah, all is good fun, Andy says. Just got to find the scale that best suits your personality and your goals.
Thank you, Andy.
Later, Scott. Yes, Scott. Scott has a plug in Scott's layout in his video. I think it's under the Hillbilly Railroad monarchy that he uses, Scott. But check it out. Stuff like that. But
so any questions, everybody, about these locomotives that we did for this?
No, nothing real. Okay. And anything that's coming up with them.
All right.
So I personally will tell you that 10 months, 9 months.
Mm-hmm.
I'm taking back. It seems like we were just doing these like fast and furious, and time flies. I didn't know we did that. I really, truly did not know we did that many. And I'm glad that we did that many, and that they were very entertaining. And I have to say that you came aboard here like gangbusters. You were enthused, you were compassionate, you were passionate about it. Mm-hmm. And I have to be honest, some days I got on this thing and I was like, I don't want to do this show. I want to stay and watch my, everybody loves Raymond. And once I got into this, I was like, wow, this, and I tell you, I was inspired to work on my layout and stuff like that. Here we go. Yeah, John says you don't know how many gray hairs I've got. But it's a team effort. And for you guys out in the community, and for you guys who are doing your live shows or endeavoring to step foot into the pool of doing live shows, you're starting to realize how hard or how much work. I shouldn't say it's hard. It's a labor of love. But there's a lot of work that goes into this stuff. And you guys are out there doing that. And I applaud you. And we need more of it out there, more of it. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. It's, when you see, Joe and John and myself and Ralph and Andy and Chris and the rest of us come on, this isn't something we just get on and say, okay, let's just start talking. It's, it's work behind it. It's scripted. We talk between days. Joe works a full-time job and his hours are very conflicting, sometimes nights, sometimes day. And, Andy works his tail off as well as, and Ralph. Ralph, I, myself, and John are retired, but still we lead a busy social life and stuff like that. So, you know, it's a lot of work, you know, and so when you guys see this, we try to give you the best we can of what we got. I know we're limited to production quality, and with up here now we get a good quality.
Yeah, I gotta apologize. I'm back in my computer room because that laptop we were using in downstairs died. I got to get it fixed so we can move back down there for the fall.
I'll have my friend Frankie Rice call you.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Well, if he calls you, where are you, in Jersey, right?
Right.
All right. If he calls you, he's probably gonna, you know, probably tell you to meet him there, and then when you get there, he won't be there. Then it's call you on the telephone and tell you to meet him over here. So you got to play this little cat and mouse game with them. Something about a federal investigation. I don't know what it is. I don't get involved in that kind of stuff, but you know, I don't think it's anything serious. But Ralph Renzetti, please reviews what powder you used. Why? That's a great question, Ralph, aka Mudfather.
Did I step in something?
Not yet. But that's that. You know what that question is?
What's that?
That's like Joe Frazier and Muhammad Ali, and Muhammad Ali is like, come on, I can give medicine a cold. Let's go. It's like, here, lead with the chin. Come on.
So, you know, I was using the Bragdon powders through these locomotives. The Bragdon weathering powders, not pastels, as I was corrected by the Mudfather. And you know, that's what I use, the Bragdon powders, because I like the adhesive property, and I also don't like that you don't have to go in and use the dull coat over if you don't want to. I've been having good results with them. Some of those locomotives, like the first one we did, even though we're handling that locomotive, the first SD60 we did, even though we're handling it, the powders are still holding up really, really well, and it's been handled a lot. So the only thing you do have to be aware of with the Bragdon system is that there is a tendency, if you grab it the wrong way on a flat spot, you will get a fingerprint, and you'll have to go back and touch it up. So that's the only thing.
I think Ralph was right. Ralph, you're a pan pastel guy, right?
Ralph, I didn't do it, Ralph.
No, Ralph's an AM guy. I'm sorry, Ralph. I'm sorry.
Now I did remember the conversation we had with you about trying the AIM powders. That's on my list of things to do. I want to get a set of them and try those and see the difference. Right now, I will tell you, I'm not going to lie to Ralph. I have a set of pan pastels that I bought. I want to try them. Now, I want to try them because I want to see, you know, it's a curiosity that I have, and I want to give it a shot. So see how it is, and if I like it or not. Now I have heard both sides of the argument and see, you know, so I'm just going to give it a shot on my own and see what happens.
There you go. Here we got some chatter on the Q&A here. Just of Mr. Renzetti, I am only apologizing. Don't send a big guy now with no necks to my house. Andy Crawford, yes, sir, gentlemen. Very good, Joe, and very well produced each and every show. Made me really value pre-recording video, doing live voiceover with the Q&A. The quality can be improved. Yes, it can. Jamestown 34. Sorry if I can get a little behind in chat. I use my phone to chat, and it blocks the chat when I type, and I'm a chicken picker when I type. Not a problem, Jamestown 34. Not a problem at all. Andrew Crawford, Bill, I think you, Johnny, and Ralph are the retired guys are about as busy as any of the rest of us. I might have to agree with you on that, Andy. Let's see. Trainman 1225 says, hey, Andy Crawford, Joe, reach out. I would try to help you with your computer woes.
Thanks, Andy.
He probably knows those Memphis Mafia guys. You know?
Well, knowing Andy, he could probably wave some magic wand and fix it over the World Wide Web from where he is.
Yeah. Oh, I just got a text from my friend, from Frankie Rice Balls. Text. He said, don't mention my name again. That's all he said. Don't mention my name, Frank. I won't. I'm sorry. I Philip Weinman, when I install the plug-in decoder, it always works, but when I solder it hardwired decoder, the wires keep coming off the decoder.
And I'm sorry, is he working in InScale?
No, Phil Weinman is an HO scale guy.
Yeah, maybe next year I might see if I can get somebody to loan me an HO scale locomotive to give it a shot. InScale, I really wanted to do a wired in with everybody, a full wired in. I got the soundtracks. I had the soundtracks decoder, and that's a full wired in. It looks like a big ball of spaghetti. And I was just trying to pack it in one of these little InScale jobs, and I'm sorry, it's too much work and too much milling, and it doesn't fit right. And I gave up. Trashed the locomotive. The decoder's sitting in my parts box, and so. But the technology of these drop-in boards is getting so reliable that I don't think you need the wired in anymore. I think the wired in is just its time of evolution has come. I think the wired in decoder will eventually go away because these. Correct. Okay, so what John was saying in our ear was that it might possibly be some dirty contacts on that's giving you the problem.
Ralph Franzetti says you did not step into anything. I like the Bragdon powders, Andrew Crawford says. I use the AIM, but according to the Mudfather, we think those are essentially the same. Even comes in the same packaging. Trainman 1225. I use weathering powder for everything known in my locomotives and freight cars. Andrew Crawford says dull coat is my friend. Ralph Franzetti writes, no.
I guess that was in reference to me getting the pan pastels.
Dwight of Northern Star Railroad Line says, "Hey Phil, hi Phil. Have you cleaned the contacts with alcohol and maybe roughed up the contacts a little?" Andrew Crawford. So does Ralph don't let him tell you different. He'll try to deny it, but we know better. Okay. Ralph Franzetti replies, you need to finish with dull color. I also have PPs. Dwight Gooden to Phil. Phil, I tried to use plastic gloves to keep hand oils off. Andy Crawford. Pan pastels are good, great even for specific tasks. Pan pastels on plastic are problematic.
Oh.
Crawford. Chicken picker, LOL. Kenneth Amos Jr. Try a little liquid flux when soldering decoder. Helps if the contacts are a little dirty. Maybe losing the soldered connections on the decoder maybe you should look at setting a heat sink on the lines you're soldering from Andrew Crawford. Let's see. Philip Wyman says, Dwight, wires come off the factory wired decoder. Let's see. For old DC locos, Andy says, especially brass, that will always be used for wire decoders. Not really needed for most people. Not to mention, if I hard-wired one, I'd still put a plug in. Ron's Trains and Things says, I disagreed about wire in decoders. The hard wire have more reliable electrical contact, which is used especially with sound decoders. Is that true? No?
I guess that's what he's saying.
Can be, John says. Yeah. Brian W. says, hey, Joe, you had a Walters GP38-2 with sound. Did you need to mill the frame?
So that Walters GP38, I bought that on a sale. for a birthday. I bought myself a birthday gift. Got it in the mail, put it on the layout. Thing ran horrible. Horrible clearances. The gauges was out. It just was a mess. I worked on it for about a year, and finally I said, I don't like this thing. I'm getting rid of it. So I was talking to one of my followers, Benjamin Horn. He might be watching, and I told him the problem with it. And I said, do you think you could do anything with it? So he said, well, send it to me. So I sent it to him, and he installed a Loc Sound micro board in it. And he didn't mill the frame. What he actually did was he used a drill press to drill holes into the frame and screwed it down into the frame to hold that board in. So there's not really milling. It's just a board laying on top of the chassis, and you got it to fit real nice and put a speaker in there. And so far, he did a phenomenal job on the install. It's running really good and sounds great. So he may have saved that locomotive from the junk heap.
Oh, okay. Phil Wyman says, "Hey guys, thanks for the info. Anytime. You're my favorite model railroad hobbyist guy. Don't tell Joe I said that. Oh, Joe, you're listening. I'm sorry.
So, 52 minutes.
Man, time flies, Joe, when we're having.
I know. I get on this computer with you, and it just boom, fast.
Joe, why don't you tell us what's coming up ahead in September? Because you've been in some serious negotiations with another favorite YouTube model builders contributor. How about you telling us what's going to happen with that?
Yeah, so I'm going to work through the summer with the track planner, Mr. Bronick, and we're going to come in September and start a series of videos to do some operations, and this will be firsthand perspective using my layout. Mr. Bronick and I will demonstrate some of the ideas of how to get your layout running for operations, how to set up your paperwork and your schedules, and discuss some track warrants and all that associated stuff to get an operations level going on your layout. So that's the plan, and just wanted to tell everybody that's what we're going to be starting with in September. Oh yeah, we will have trains running.
Yeah, see, the idea behind this is Bill Baronic presented the last, when he was on earlier in the year, and even last year, he did the PowerPoint presentations in regards to operations and, what operations entailed. And this time, we're going to actually use Joe's layout to kind of simulate, we're going to translate that from paper to work. And so they give you an idea. And on this, and I encourage everyone to watch this. I went to Joe's house. I went to Joe's house in the last op session. I wound up getting a job I had basically two trains to bring in and 2 trains to lay out. And now a lot of you guys know, and the reason why I say this is because this I think will be very instrumental in this because you'll get a video of actually hands-on working. And I have to tell you, I'm starting on this. I've been doing some operations. I went to Joe's house and I did operations, and I was a little nervous going. And my wife said, "What's the problem? Why are you nervous?" And I said, "Well, I don't want to screw up. I don't want to mess things up and operating and stuff like that." She had to remind me that I used to operate $2 million worth of equipment in the transit authority. 30 years, nobody got hurt or I derailed the train. So she says, "I don't think you'll have a problem with this." And she was right, as always. Self-doubt, I always do that, and occasionally we all do. But anyway, when I got there and Joe said, "Well, this is your job, Bill. You to take these you take this train in, bring it up to the yard, do this." And I have to tell you that the immediacy of when I brought the train out and we brought it around the helix and we brought it up and the yardmaster, Mike.
Yep.
my great guy, by the way. If you see him, say hello. Mike said, all right, Bill, bring the train up to this point, uncouple your diesels, and swing your diesels down past the Y. So once I did it, I was like, okay, what do I do now? And he said, just wait until I'm finished. And that's when it hit me that this was like my old job. He said that. And Joe, and I have to say, Joe was very much aware of people standing around, and he was getting like, I'm really sorry that you guys are like standing around. And I'm like saying to myself, this is like what I used to do. So when the boss said, all right, basically what the boss said was to me, take a break. I immediately went into civil servant mode. I went into transit authority motorman mode. I walked out into the foyer, out to the living room, and I sat down at the break table, and I made coffee, and I started reading the paper. And any guy that walked in, I was like, "Yo, what's up? What's up with you? What's up? How's your job? Yeah, what are you doing? Yeah, I'm good." And then all of a sudden, Mike yells out, "Oh, Bill!" And I came out. I said, "What's up?" He says, "You got to take this back." So I took it back. So then Joe says to me, "You got to take this around the lower level the next one." So basically what it was 2 put-ins and 2 layups. That was my day. And as soon as the guy, when I said, "What do I do now?" and Joe said, "That's your day," I was like, this is, and it was like the transit all over again. I just sat. If Joe would have let me put my feet up on the table, I would have put my feet up on the table, and I would have milked it for the overtime. This whole thing with this operation thing is going to be a plus for all of us, I think, because now we're going to get the paper, we're going to get the talk, the expertise on how it works, and we're also going to get the visual. And the other good thing about it is that Joe and Mr. Baronic, Bill Baronic, come from 2 different sides. Okay? Mm-hmm. Mr. Baronic is a very easy come, easy go, make it as simple as possible, but to have fun with it and to be intriguing and to do. Joe, on the other hand, gets a little in depth. He gets, train order slips and stuff like that and deforms, and, he gets really into it. So you're going to have a variation of operations where you can pick and choose. And go ahead, Joe. I know I'm
No, I just wanted to tell you, and another difference between me and Mr. Baronic is that Mr. Baronic is big on freelancing. He likes freelance railroads and model railroads. I'm prototypical. I like my prototype, and I try to stay as true to the prototype as possible. So there's the other the other difference between the 2 of us.
Yeah, very much so. So I think that it's going to be an exciting September, October. Do with that, we're also planning new things. We got the new show going. Who's Big Bill talking to? And last month we had who did we have last month? Lionel Strand. Senior moment, all right? Take it easy. I got rattled by the text with Frankie Rice Ball's text.
I just have to, let me tell everybody the backstory. So I did Lionel's radio show, and when you announced that when you told us behind the scenes before the show that you were going to talk to him, I was so excited about that show because I really wanted to see it. So the show fell on a day that I happened to be working. So I pulled all these guys after briefing. I said, "Listen, guys, okay, I have something very important I need to do for 1 hour tonight, okay? I need absolute quiet. Don't bug me. And by the way, I won't be answering any calls. You guys got to pick up the calls." So I got to sit in the patrol car and watch the whole thing. And it was awesome. That was such a good show. I was so pumped.
It was. Lionel was a great guest. So that's the new endeavor. And I want to thank, and I don't think I had a chance to thank Ralph Renzetti for putting us in touch with Lionel. I keep saying Lloyd. I'm thinking of Lloyd, MHO. But thanks for putting us in touch with Lionel. It was a great show. We had Barry Smith on as well, one of his cohorts on the podcast. It's a Model is Life. And next in July, we're going to have Ron Pierre on from him up in Canada. We seem to be getting all these Canadian guys. which is a good thing, not a problem. Way up. So we're gonna have Ron on next month, and we're gonna talk to. Yeah, well, that's true. John just said we got to keep the summer a little cooler down here in the state. Anyway, so we're gonna have Ron, and we're working on getting some more people, more guests on, and having it. And that's what we're doing at YouTube Model Builders. Let's see, Otto. I don't think Joe's wife would like that your feet are on our table. You're absolutely right. She wouldn't. That's why I took my shoes off. And and then when Joe walked in the room, I put them down. Let's see what we got here. We got some questions. We got some things going on.
That Bruce.
Oh, Bruce Wilson. I'm sorry.
Bruce the mailboy.
Yeah, Brian W. Cool. Thanks. I had the same on E. Had to remove the inner bearing blocks and clean it before it ran reasonably well. MHO Junction. Mr. Ron, got a question for you when you ever come to the other appear. He has a question for Ron. Okay, that was a private thing. Start to finish coding. Sound helpful. I'm looking forward to that for September. I got it. Start to finish. He's looking forward to it in September. MHO Junction. Okay, that's another thing. Always look forward to September. Let's see. Hastings BNSF. Love the live shows. I always learn something. Thanks for your hard work. Well, you're quite welcome, Hastings BNSF. Our pleasure. And the Crawford Proto for the win. Bruce Wilson. Oh, Bruce Wilson, not Barry. You're right. I do apologize, Bruce Wilson. Great guy. Andy Crawford. Bruce the Mailboy. That's right. He's a.k.a. Bruce the Mailboy. Thanks, Dwight of Northern Star Rail. Thanks, boys, for that show. And to the birthday boys. And 3 Rail, I believe that is a great show. Yes. Is that Larry? 3 Rail? I don't know. Larry will be on in the 26th of next month. Just as we're finishing up here, just let me go over here to the easy clipboard. Show of hands. How many guys like this doing it from the layout room? Okay. All right. So next Tuesday on the 26th, that's a Tuesday, the 26th of June. Who is Big Bill talking to? Is going to be Larry Ryan and Chris Rude, 3rd Rail and Old Scale guys. And on the 28th, Johnny's Train Talk Show. All the fanboys for Johnny's Train Talk Show. He'll be back next Thursday. Don't get upset. Start crying. Don't get triggered that he wasn't here today. And he'll be back next week. And sometimes, John needs a break too. So he'll be back next Thursday, the 28th. And let's see. And then we just talked about starting about the shows in September, operations. And July 18th, we're going to do another one with Big Bill talking to Ron Pierre. And this is, let's see, Andy Crawford. A lot of us going to be great series. Anything on operations will get a large dedicated audience, but I hope you encourage some non-operators to give it a go. Yes, we will.
Yes, we will. I will make sure to gear this towards the beginners or the non-experienced people and operators so that they can learn.
Yeah, Ron's Trains and Things says, good show, guys. Joe, I've really enjoyed your ops video.
Thank you, Ron.
Yeah, Ron. So that will conclude tonight's show.
Can I just?
No. Okay, go ahead.
I just want to take this time to thank all of you guys for allowing me to do this and putting your faith in me to pull it off. And thank you to all the fans. I'm going to take 2 months and I'll be back in September. So everybody enjoy your summer. And I will be on the chats watching everybody else's shows.
Well, Joe, first of all, thank you very much for being a part of this.
Yep.
It's sort of like the mafia. Once you're in, get out. It's train in, it's train out. You know what I mean? So you're not going anywhere. You got some big. What do you think? We're going to give you a shirt and you're just going to do this and that's it? You got no. Where you live at? And then to get there.
That's true. You do know where I live now, and you'll be back. You'll be back in a couple of weeks.
That's right. So, but no, it's our privilege, and it's really our honor to have you. You bring a lot of passion to the hobby, and a lot of knowledge and a lot of stuff. So, it's good. It's good. It's really good. So we enjoy having you on, and I think the community enjoys having you on as well. And to the rest of the guys who present here too. Bunch of great guys giving their time and their energy because it's all free. If it's free, it's for me. So that will be it for us. Thank you guys for watching out there in the community. If it wasn't for you watching, we'll be talking to dead air. And thanks to John, Director Extraordinaire, once again. And thank you to everyone out there. So you guys take care. God bless, and we'll see you on the radio.
Bye.